Good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World. Thailand's leading English language daily, The Nation, which is known for its independent and aggressive news reporting, will cease publication starting tomorrow, after having served its readers for the past 48 years. It's the latest newspaper to fall victim to the so-called disruptive technology, which has rattled the media industry for many years. More importantly, the demise of The Nation also means the loss of another thought-provoking and independent voice. This is the front page of the last edition of The Nation that will hit the newsstands tomorrow. The Nation, one of Thailand's two English language dailies, is one of the latest casualties of the digital onslaught, which has seen many media outlets, including newspapers and broadcasters, going under. The newspaper has been struggling financially for years with declining circulations and advertising revenue. The end of The Nation, however, didn't come as a surprise to Suthithai Yun, its founder and its longest-serving editor during its early days. Long before anybody else in the newsroom, Suthithai had predicted on the outset of the digital revolution the days that newspapers would no longer be around. But did he expect that to become his own self-fulfilling prophecy?
This is one case where I would prefer to be wrong. My prediction of the imminent demise of the print edition of the newspaper. But of course, we saw it coming.
The first edition of The Nation hit the newsstands on July 1st, 1971, at the time when the English press was dominated by foreign-owned media companies. Suthithai was among a group of young journalists who believed that there was a strong need for Thai perspectives and viewpoints to be presented through English media owned and operated by Thais. It was the time when Vietnam War was still raging, and Thai domestic politics was about to enter one of its most turbulent periods. Throughout its almost half a century of existence, The Nation has gone through countless trials and tribulations to gain reputation as being one of the most credible and independent source of news. And more often than not, its editors and journalists were willing to put their jobs on the line to defend their editorial principles. The paper was briefly closed down in the aftermath of a military coup d'etat in October 1976, which was preceded by a massacre of students at Thammasat University. The paper had a history of standing up to the military since its early days. Only a few months after its founding, The Nation began its tradition of running the so-called page one editorials when major and important events happened. The first was a bold editorial in October 1971, opposing the military coup d'etat Prime Minister Thanom Kittikachorn staged against his own government. 20 years later, when another military coup d'etat toppled the Chatichai government, The Nation put on its front page an editorial demanding the military junta to return the country to democracy as soon as possible. During the pro-democracy demonstration in 1992, which later became known as the May Uprising, The Nation was one of the few newspapers that defied military orders by giving factual accounts of the violent crackdowns on the protesters. Its main rival came up with blank columns in an apparent act of self-censorship. The Nation ran pictures and news stories that highlighted atrocity committed against the demonstrators. The paper was threatened with a closure as a result. But its coverage of the event earned praises from various international news organizations, including the New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists, which conferred it with the Press Freedom Award. One of its former editors, Tun Satithaptim, believes that what sets The Nation apart from most other newspapers is the diversity in its newsroom.
Well, I think it's the diversity of opinions is the biggest legacy of The Nation. When I was editor, there was all kind of ideologies working at The Nation, and I don't know. I think you cannot always find that at other newspaper. you either this or that. But at the Nation, you have a lot of opinions, a lot of differences in opinion.
The Nation is part of the Nation Multimedia Group, a publicly listed company which was taken over by a new management last year. According to the paper's management, some of the editorial staffs will be reassigned to the paper's online service, while others will be retired. With the Nation gone from the newsstands, there will be only one English language daily left in Thailand. The Bangkok Post is one of Thailand's oldest daily newspapers and has been around since 1946. 4 of the former editors of the Nation got together recently to recall the good old days and of course also the tumultuous days of the paper. And they all believe that the paper will be leaving behind a legacy that should inspire journalists in this digital age.
For me, apart from the local legacy, the Nation has an international legacy. The Nation is well accepted, well regarded regionally and internationally, often quoted by a newspaper in the region as well as around the world.
I hope that the legacy will be that once upon a time was a group of people devoted to journalism, trying their best. They might not be successful every time or every day of their work, but trying very hard to be objective, to be professional, and to reflect the actual happenings of the day. At the same time, be able to convince themselves that they have done their best to be the first responders to breaking news, at the same time to be able to sit down and reflect on stories of the day, and of course being part of the pulse of society.